Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Monday. The NBA is back, and I couldn't be happier. I hope that you are enjoying your Monday. If you are in any place affected by Hurricane Ian, Puerto Rico, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, hopefully you are waking up to a better day, as we all are, getting into the swing of autumn, of fall. Football season is upon us. They're already a quarter of the way in. NBA is here. We actually kick off the regular season just around the corner, and we are in preseason basketball. So we have preseason scores and storylines to talk about. Also, we have the Hoop Spaces preview of the upcoming season. I've got the Atlantic Division already up and running at hoopspaces.com. I'll be sure to get the links up in here throughout the show. I'll get the tweet card up there in a moment and be back in about 30 seconds. Appreciate it. Good morning. All right. Good morning. Hey, I hope you're having a great Monday. We'll be getting some people up in a moment. I'm getting the show card out there because it's always a great day to talk basketball. So there you go. Also, our first preview piece out here at hoopspaces.com. We have the Atlantic Division done right now. I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of those tweets up there momentarily. But of course, as you know, I am a 76ers fan, so I've, of course, had to lead with my 76ers. So check this out. This is something that we're going to be adding up here. I'll get the entire Eastern Conference out there by the end of the week, and probably some of the Western Conference, if not all of it, by the end of the weekend. Then you'll be, eligible to maybe join us if you are wanting to do some written content. We'll get that out here in the future. The newsletter will be up and running by October 30th or November 1st, where you'll get a weekly feature that I'm hoping you're going to want to sign up for. Shout outs down below to the good people of Hoop Spaces that just love to pop in and talk basketball. It is almost that time. The best time of year is almost here, and I'm glad that you can join us with it. And by that, I don't mean Halloween, because with Halloween comes the scourge of candy corn. And just like the scourge of candy corn, we are joined up on stage already by none other than a friend of mine, La Familia, UK through and through, Scott, aka Nothing But Heat. What's up, Scott? I know we're going to go ahead and tell the people down below we got to give him a couple of extra seconds to let the prompter come up. Scott, hope you had a great weekend, man. What you got for us this morning?
Good morning, Chris. How you doing? It's an interesting day. As Annie would have it, I'm actually at the bank going through the drive-in trying to make a deposit, talking about hell. So it's a good day. I think this was something that was a long time coming. So he got his bag. Then I got to watch the Suns last night get demoralized by a G League team. So I can't be any happier this morning.
Absolutely. I look, that wasn't even a G League team, ladies and gentlemen. The Adelaide 36ers. The Adelaide 36ers shocked the world beating the Suns last night. And look, don't be fooled by the score. It really wasn't that close, right? Like the score was going to end up being closer because the bench of the 36ers versus the bench of the Suns goes to the Suns. But my word, 134, 124, your shocking upset. The Adelaide 36ers over the Suns. And look, they got ballers, including Kai Soto coming off the bench. If you remember him, that's the 7'2 Filipino center. He had some good run. The Rockets whooped the Spurs 134-96. The Raptors beat up on the Jazz 114-82, and the Celtics they took out all of their issues out on the Hornets 134-93. Those are yesterday's scores. Scott, you already brought it up. Everybody heard Tyler Hero got his bag. 4 years, 130 million, including 10 million in incentives. That means he got a 30 mil on average raise. You're a Heat fan. Go ahead and tell us why he actually got as large of a contract that he did.
Well, I mean, the Heat culture is a certain type of organization where you only get certain players to come in, and Tyler fits that mold. So they want to keep those types of players in. I think he's the young core with Bam Adebayo. So a lot of things have gone on, but he's gotten better each year. And I think the real leap is coming when his body fully matures. He's still just a kid. He's 6'5". He's added weight. He's added strength. Got his body fat down. His explosion is going to be even more. He was getting to every spot he wanted to last year. So if he increases in efficiency, you're looking at 23, 25 points a game. What a lot of people don't take into account is Herro was averaging 21 points per game as a 21-year-old, yet he's sharing the ball with guys like Lowry, Bam, definitely Butler, and he's still able to get above 20 points per game. So that's very unique. It's not like he was sent to the Detroit Pistons or even Booker in the earlier days when he was playing for the Suns. But if you can't see the potential is still there, the ceiling is still untapped. There's a lot to go. But the most important thing is I'm talking about is culture. Because of his work ethic, because of his desire to stay in the gym and just continue to improve, that makes the risk a lot less. So you're paying a little bit more, but you also feeling you're going to get the guarantee on the improvements over the next season. So I still see a huge leap coming in this year.
I actually do too. I think a lot of people. I put that tweet out there. Like it shocks me how many people are mad that Tyler Hero earned his contract extension. It tickles my fancy. Sebastian is up here. He is also a Heat fan, so we'll go ahead and move on to him. We'll bring him up here to get his thoughts on Tyler Hero's massive contract extension and what he thinks this means for the Heat this year and going forward. What's up, Sebastian? How you
What's
doing?
up? What's up? I'm doing good. I'm doing good. First off, I want to thank you for mentioning at the beginning of the space all of the people affected by the hurricanes. I really, what I've been going through with my family back in Puerto Rico for the past couple of weeks. So I just want to start off by thanking you for pointing that out. Um, but back to Hero, I was about to say something, but I guess pretty much Scott said it all. Scott was spot on with all that he said. But one thing that I'm going to point out is that I see a lot of people that are worried about this extension, considering Hero's performances in the playoffs. But going back to one of the points that Scott said is that he's still a kid. Like, uh, hell, Hero is my age. We graduated the same year in high school. I'm 22 years old, and obviously I'm not a high performing athlete, but um, we can like Hero still has a whole career ahead of him, and I think extending him was the correct decision, knowing the extension is for 5 years, knowing that he's made constant leaps throughout his career, year in and year out. He's been getting better and better and better and better, and I think the to uh to an extent the criticisms are kind of unfair. Um, I do think Hero is going to take quite another leap this year, and I think the playoff thing, he eventually, sooner or later, sooner or later during this 5 year extension, he is going to figure it out, how to handle the pressure, how to deal with that pressure during the playoffs. And I think this is actually a great move for him. Obviously, he got his money, he has his position secured, but also for the team. We have a player that has a unique offensive ability. He is really good scoring the ball, and he recognizes what he does good and what he is lacking, and he is willing to put in the work to get better in all the facets of the game. So I'm actually really happy that we extended him because because of how much of a bright future that we have. Aside from Jimmy and Kyle, we have a very young team. So locking Hero up is a good. It's a good. How do you say this? It's a good foreshadowing of what the future is going to be like with the Heat post Jimmy. You know,
Yeah, you like the teaming up of Tyler Hero and Bam
yeah,
Adebayo
exactly,
as,
exactly,
as
exactly,
core of the current help for Jimmy, but then Jimmy's, I mean, he's not going to play forever. You're looking 4 years beyond. So when Jimmy's gone.
exactly, exactly. So, so yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm actually very happy that we extended him.
All right, cool. We got a couple more people up here, but I'll let Scott hop in here if there's anything he wants to add on with Sebastian. Scott, you got something?
I think Sebastian nailed it. If you want to talk a little bit about the playoff, if you don't know that Hell had his role changed just before the playoff, if you don't see what's really going on with it, you don't watch him close enough. Hell was actually he became a decoy during the playoff. You cannot discount his contract because he was scoring less points because of a role change. Sure, he didn't perform as well as anyone would like him to have. And then he had late playoff injury that affected the game a little bit. But there's no excuses here. He should have played better. But his role did change, and the offensive rotation did change as well. You had the Atlanta Hawks admittingly on the air saying, hey, we're keying for Tyler Herro. He makes the difference. We can't let him score in bunches. Then you had the same thing with the Philadelphia 76ers, where Doc Rivers, who's not the greatest game planner ever, but he actually saw that you have to slow Herro down. So teams were actually defensively playing against Herro as one of the as the lead scorers for the Heat. So you can't discount Herro for becoming a pure decoy. So this year, I don't think there's going to be any such thing as a decoy for Herro. So I expect him to have a really good playoff, and I expect him to really mature as his body matures mentally and become somewhat more of a vocal leader, so to speak.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I think that's the next evolution in his game, and I actually think having Victor Oladipo there, I think somebody who had a similar, maybe a little bit more athletic mindset and game early on his career, but he's got a mentor who's older than him, who's been an All Star, and I actually think that is boding well again for Miami. All right, I want to get a quick reset as we welcome more people into the room. Welcome. Happy Monday. Thank you for spending any part of your day here with Hoop Spaces. We are grateful. I want to give a shout out to Snotty Drippin down below, a man with no name, one half of the Dunk Tales podcast. It's one of the best podcasts you can have in the rotation. I was on it last season. It's him and JP, the wholesome truth teller. So make sure you go over there and download it and make sure you leave a good review. And really, you need to actually pay attention to the sponsors because they do a phenomenal job creating the most inventive and comedic sponsors. So make sure you shoot them a follow. Also down below, we've got Evan Townsend of Project Spurs, Jose and Rolo of 77 Spaces, JP the franchise on YouTube. And we got some regular listeners. So shout out PJ. PJ was first in the room. We got Mackenzie, we got Afisha, we have Julian, and we also have now the Boston Celtics season preview. And the Celtics really went through it, so we can also talk about that. Or we can continue to talk about how funny it is that the NBL's third or fourth best team beat the Phoenix Suns. Vince, good morning. We'll go to you, and then we'll bring Samir. And how you doing?
Hey, yeah, am I coming in?
Yep, you're good.
But yeah, I watched that game last night, and for the NBL, it's a good look for them. Honestly, I honestly thought it was pretty impressive watching the game, but I actually got to tune in for the second half, and all I have to say is for Suns fans, you should be extremely disappointed because honestly, with the NBL players, I was seeing a lot of this like they didn't really have many good ball handlers, especially out their bench. And it just seemed like they were dribble every time they dribbled the ball up, they would try to do some actions. And honestly, they weren't really getting much to go. I think the Suns were good at keeping them in front, but every single time they would just hit a pull up three, like every single time they were hitting everything from New York.
So the funniest thing, right? Um, Craig Randall. This is the guy who really led the charge. You know, he went to Shadow Mountain High School in Arizona, in Phoenix.
Oh, I'm sorry, my mic accidentally cut out. My bad.
All right, no problem. So yeah, Craig Randall, the guy who's giving the Suns bucket, went to Shadow Mountain High for a year. Hilarious. Like
Oh
he
yeah,
must have
I
felt.
seen that. Craig Randall, dude, he was good for the Long Island Nets, in the G League. Did you see that? I was looking
Yeah,
through.
you're kind of low, Vince. You might have to come back in.
Okay, my bad, my bad.
Yeah, that's okay. All right, we're gonna get Samir in here. Samir, good morning. How you doing?
Hey Chris, I'm just eating my food, so I will talk later.
Oh, all right. Well, then I'm gonna move you down because we don't need you to accidentally open your mic and hear you smacking on whatever you're eating over there. All right. So also in the NBA news and notes that we're gonna get to in a moment, we got some signings, some contract extensions. But before that, we have Saturday's games to go over. You got the Memphis Grizzlies beating the Bucks 107-102. Jordan Nwora, after signing his qualifying extension, 21-8, and if the Bucks are actually going to uh, be competitive beyond the second round and maybe Eastern Conference Finals, they're probably going to actually need a lot from Jordan Nwora, as well as Pat Connaughton, who they also re-signed, because they didn't really have any cap money to bring in any names since they went all in on Giannis, Chris Middleton, and Drew Holiday. The Warriors back on Sunday handled the Washington Wizards 104-95. That was over in the Japan games. This time, Kristaps Porzingis still looked like Kristaps Porzingis. So, like, I feel bad for the Wizards. So, 2 games to the Warriors, 2 losses to the Warriors. The Wizards are 0-2 in their preseason, and they've learned that Kristaps Porzingis is still indeed Kristaps Porzingis. All right, there you go. Those are the scores. There's also news about WNBA expansion. There's going to be 2 teams named. I happen to believe that there are only really 2 cities that really have a chance. We'll talk about that. Steven Adams of the Grizzlies signed a 2-year contract extension as well. So that is actually a pretty good sign for Memphis as they get ready to try to compete for the next 18 months, but then set themselves up for a long term addition of a max salary to match with Ja and Trip when he comes back healthy. The Nuggets signed their GM to a multi-year extension, and if you don't understand what has happened in Denver, just if you go back for the last 15 to 20 years, they have put out basically a quarter of the league's GMs or assistant GMs across the league. This time, Calvin Booth getting a re-up to stay in Denver. He took over the front office after Minnesota poached Tim Connolly away um, to fix Minnesota, and look what he was able to do. So that actually kind of bodes well for the Denver Nuggets, and Usai Majiri's tree continues to grow. So shout out to Toronto Raptors as well, and that'll be the next team, by the way, that will drop a season preview. Will be the Toronto Raptors. All right, so you got some news and notes. You have the scores from the last weekend. Now we also get to talk about what we get to look forward to coming up this season in the NBA, and we will actually kick it around the room. We will go to Sebastian first, since he's actually right next to me on my screen. Sebastian, give me one thing you're looking forward to that's not Heat related in the NBA this year.
You killed me at the end with the non-heat related.
I
But
know. All right, what is it? What's
no,
the
no,
Heat
no, no,
thing?
no, 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 no. But I got it.
All right.
I got it. I actually want to see how the Warriors do. So many people have them. Like I was reading some ESPN articles and like the over under that like Vegas has them at, and I don't know. I don't know if you can actually disrespect the defending championship team like that. They didn't lose any key players like that. Uh, I, the West is still like to me the worst conference. Like the East is clearly better, and no other teams in the West really made like these crazy additions either. So I actually kind of want to see the Warriors. You know, I don't know if it's appropriate to say prove people wrong because like as a defending champion, I don't feel like you have to prove anything wrong to anybody, but I'd say I'm looking forward to see if the Warriors exceed expectations.
All right. We'll go to Scott next. I actually happen to think the Warriors are one of four teams right now that have a better chance than good to make it to the Western Conference Finals or the Eastern Conference Finals. Once you get that, once you really get into the second round, all bets are off. But the Warriors for sure. The To me, Milwaukee Bucks are another team that just they're too good to not get there.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, another team is the Clippers. I want to see how Kawhi comes back.
Oh, dude, he looks like a tight end or a deep end right.
He's massive. He's swole. He looks great. I can't wait to see him back.
All right. So the question we also have: should the Suns be concerned? Yes, no, or they should be panicking. I'm going to get that poll out there. And while you're down below, I'm going to ask for a favor. Right? I try not to ask for a lot of favors. These season previews, if you can do us the favor of liking and retweeting them to get them out. It'll help me. It'll help Hoop Spaces, and I appreciate it. I'll be getting the Toronto Raptors up there next. Comments will be turned on, sometime today. But the only reason why they really weren't turned on is because we rather have the comments here on Twitter. So if you do happen to read it and you want to give your thoughts, please, by all means, go to the tweet and put your reply. I want to give a shout out to Justin Padden, aka JP the Franchise, on YouTube. He already knows what to do. If you can't come up here and talk what you want to share, go ahead and put your take down below in the chat box. So if you look down below, if you are able to, go ahead and put your thoughts up there. We'll get them up here and share his takeaway from the Celtics. Incredible ball movement. He's preaching the truth of Sam Hauser after the preseason, talking about how he's going to be a good spot up shooter off the bench. Uh, Great efficiency shooting the ball, 57% and 47% as a team. They still are, turning over the ball because Jaylen Brown, dribbles the ball off his foot. There, I think I got everything, JP. We got Nicole up here. We'll go to Nicole. Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, everybody. How are y'all doing today?
We are doing well. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. And what do you have for the NBA preseason action or any questions for the upcoming season?
There's one thing that I'm excited to see outside of my own Memphis Grizzlies. I'm excited to see how we put things together with our rookies, but I'm excited to see the Pelicans. I want to see how Willie Green really incorporates Zion since he is a full go now with CJ McCollum and Jose and BI. I want to see how that's going to go. Because if it goes good, I feel like they could be a problem for the West. And a lot of people sleep on these small market teams like mine in New Orleans, but we're really on the come up. So that's what I'm excited about personally. And for those who don't know, I actually am from New Orleans, but I support the Pels, but I'm a diehard Grizzlies fan. The Grizzlies have my heart. So that's what I'm excited for.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you came up here, and then you also, explained that because you're going to get the two team question. Like I'm a one team guy. I can't have two teams, right? So like, if the Grizzlies and Pelicans are playing, you're saying you are backing the Grizzlies, and you
1000% backing the Grizzlies. I only support the Pelicans because they're my home team and I love anything Louisiana.
okay. All right, we can accept that. Scott or Sebastian, you want to hop up in here and your thoughts on Zion and the Pelicans? I think that's a pretty trendy pick for actually a top 6 seed in the West, especially if they're all healthy. And I actually think we're going to see an all-star caliber year from one CJ McCollum. I think he's been, well underappreciated in the shadow of Damian Lillard. Not saying Damian didn't appreciate him and Portland didn't. They did. I mean, league wide, I think we started really seeing him in a different eye after being traded. We'll go to Sebastian first so Scott can hop in. Thank you, everybody. Good morning.
So Brandon Ingram is actually one of my favorite young players in the league. So I'm really excited to see like a healthy Zion with Brandon Ingram, knowing both of their offensive abilities, they are kind of unique in a sense, both of them. So I am really, really, really much looking forward to seeing the two healthy versions and see how they can play together and see what the Pelicans can do. One of my good friends actually lives in New Orleans, and he is really, really, really excited, and just like seeing him being excited about the Pelicans just like makes me want to support them also. But uh, we saw what Zion was. We saw the level that Zion played in college, and if he can go back to that type of healthy Zion with Brandon Ingram, I wouldn't doubt at all that, as you said, Chris, they would be a top six seed in the West.
Yeah, I think it's pretty scary. Scott, what do you think? All right, he might not be able to actually talk. All right, we'll go down to Vince. Vince, I know. All right, you actually took your mic mute off from your mic off of mute. I got an echo. All right, go ahead, Vince. What do you think about New Orleans and the return of Zion, Brandon Ingram, or even some of their bench players that I'm going to get to in a moment?
Okay. Well, I think that New Orleans is an interesting team. Zion is obviously going to be just way too dominant as a guy who can drive the ball to the rim. I mean, he's just a massive presence. I really question with the Pelicans. I really think they're going to be a top six team in the West. I think that's pretty easy to say. I do think they'll be better than the Suns. I'm really losing faith in the Suns now. But I honestly think that the Pelicans they have a pretty good core, and really a guy who goes under the radar is Herb Jones. Like I feel like you got to mention Herb Jones when you mention other guys like CJ and Brandon Ingram. Like Brandon Ingram and CJ, they score quite a bit, but a guy like Herb Jones completely changes their defense with the way he's able to ball hawk all these other major scorers. Like Herb Jones is a legitimate defender. And I was saying this last year. I think him and Evan Mobley are the best, some of the best defensive rookies I've ever seen come out into the NBA. Since about a rookie Anthony Davis, he was really good too. So honestly, I think the Pelicans should be excited this year. They could, surprise everybody and get one of them top three seeds. So I'd like to see what they have this year.
Yeah, I do too. And one of the players that I'm actually anxious to see in New Orleans is Troy Murphy. He's 6'10", 6'11" now. He grew after he was drafted. He can shoot from anywhere on the court. And he's not going to be as great of a defender as Herb Jones is. But Trey Murphy the third he's got the length to become a serious two-way player, right? So he's probably going to shoot slot in as the backup small forward, as they're probably going to move Herb into the starting lineup. And like if you take out Jose Alvarado or Dante Graham, um, they could literally run a lineup where CJ McCollum at 6'3" is the smallest, and then everybody else is 6'8" and up. And then they can take CJ McCollum out, put Trey Murphy in, and then they could have point Zion or point Brandon Ingram, and then they would have a lineup from point guard to center from 6'8" to 6'11".
Yeah, I really do like Trey Murphy's game too. I looked at him in the draft and I thought, hey, why is this guy who's 6'8", who can shoot really good? And well, I guess he was 6'8" at the time. And I was thinking, why is he just so low on draft boards? Like people had him at like 14th and stuff. So honestly, I'm really glad for him. He didn't have the best start to his rookie season, but at the end, he started doing really well. So honestly, I think that the Pelicans, again, my main concern with the Pelicans, and honestly is probably the best major concern to have with the team is who's going to really handle, like distribute the ball. And honestly, like I think people had the same worries about the Celtics last year, and I just think that it might take the Pelicans a little bit longer to figure it out. But as soon as they do figure it out, I mean, with the scoring they have on that team, it should be no problem for them to win games.
Yeah, and they're going to run. They just need the health. That's pretty much all they need. All right, the Raptors are up here, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, and you should sleep on them at your own risk. They are deep, and they are similarly deep, like the year that they traded for Kawhi Leonard. I think a lot of people need to go ahead and respect the North. I really do. A lot of people are sleeping on them. Scott, are you back with us? What are your thoughts on Zion in New Orleans as we get ready to welcome one of Hoop Space's original contributors, our girl Reese Rebel 31, aka Nat, and she's going to give you the lowdown on the Boston Celtics on how they're going to be able to just go ahead and avoid and ignore the noise and still compete. But we'll give Scott a couple of seconds to see if he's ready to come back in. Go ahead, Scott, if you're there. All right, we'll move to Nat, and if Scott pops in, we'll go ahead and let him continue to go. Nat, good morning. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I've got blue skies and sunshine, and I've got NBA back in my life. Hopefully, that type of happiness is up there in Beantown. How you feeling?
I'm very happy. Good morning, everyone. It's cold out here, Chris. It's cold and it's gray,
I
you
love,
know, but
I
but the
love it.
NBA is back. um, I got to watch a couple quarters yesterday, and I like what I saw. Um, I really did. I think Brogdon maybe had 1 or 2 points, but he had like 6 assists or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, the shot's gonna come because he can score, he can shoot. The offense will come, but it's how he was doing cross court passes, and I'm like, Jesus, and they were competent. They was actually hitting the mark. So I'm looking forward to that because Marcus can't do that. I think that we asked a lot of Marcus because we didn't have the personnel last year. So I was like, hey man, you're the point guard, and he tried, and I'm very pleased with him. But there's only so much you can do, and Brogdon is just more pure in that position. I really hope that they roll out with the Brogdon, Smart, Brown, Tatum, Horford lineup until Robert Williams gets back, and then hopefully we move Horford to the bench. But I like what I see from this team, and you can tell they're still going to be a great defensive team. I still got them winning 50 to 52 wins this season. Um, Joe is gonna figure it out. Even when we had Ime Udoka last year for a good 3 months, we sucked. And he was great. We still sucked. We hit 11th, so it's not like he came in and then we became the Celtics with Larry Bird and all them. We sucked, so and we had to build on it. So he deserves the same amount of time to figure it out. And I think that because we have a staple from last year, they can just pick it up from there. And as long as he can, not lose the locker room, which the guys love him. I still see great things from this team. I really like what we have, though.
All right, I love it. And they performed last night against Charlotte, and they did actually everything they needed to do. Biggest question that I think everybody has, and moving past the Ime Udoka scandal, do you think that there's enough of the core coaching staff remaining? Because remember,
Mm-hmm.
Utah picked the number one assistant and Will Hardy. Another team actually picked up one of the other assistants. So do you think this is just kind of like the emotional let out and they just kind of blitz Charlotte and it's the preseason? And do you think Joe Mazzulla and the remaining coaching staff are up to the task and essentially righting the ship? After this, we're going to let Scott pop in. So, Scott, as soon as she's done with the point, go ahead and hop
Yeah,
in.
I just want to say if you're looking at last night and trying to figure out which teams are going to perform with, I would actually say that um, I would say that the Phoenix Suns game was a lot tougher than the Boston Celtics. I don't see much in Charlotte. To me, they just look like a D-League team on the court.
Absolutely, Scott. Let me let Nat come in here, finish that, answer that question, and then she can also talk to your point, Scott, about being ready, and then we'll keep it moving. I'm also going to put out the next read in about 5 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, because I actually didn't do it opening up because I just actually kind of got excited about talking basketball. Go ahead, Nat. It's on you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, listen, what I think the worst case scenario, which to a lot of people is not, but for me it is maybe Brad Stevens comes down and he's like an assistant coach, or he's on the bench a little more than usual, and he's helping guys along.
Uh-oh. Did we lose her? Yeah.
I think so.
Man, that's the worst. She's probably still going too. We hate to see it. All right. Well, we will hop over to Malaya real quick so she can say a quick good morning. Then we will end up moving up to Malika. We'll say good morning to Jess. Hopefully, Nat can pop back in because it was probably a work call. Malaya, good morning. How you doing?
How you doing, Chris? I will. Do you want to let because Malika had her hand up before me? Do you want to let her go before me, or
Oh,
just
I figured that you had like a quick hello and a quick take you wanted to get so I can get Malika in.
okay? I'll just say what I gotta say. Okay, so I just want to say, Hero, congratulations getting his money. Knowing like if he gonna be a 6 man, 32 million, that might be a little too much. But I'm guessing he gonna start. If I'm correct, I'm guessing gonna start because 32 million you gonna start. And I just want to say, to any Phoenix Sun fan down there, I don't know who, but yeah, y'all really fake. Just saying. That my point because I don't care for Phoenix. I'm sorry, I just don't. I really don't. Like Mr. Kardashian and Crimple CP3, I just don't care. I'm just so they really fake. Because I don't care for them. I just don't. But yeah. Chris, you have a blessed day. Hi Malika. Hi everybody I know up in here. I love all y'all that I do know up in here. So yeah, just saying. But yeah, that's all I had to say. How you doing, Chris? You
I'm,
blessed?
I am, and I had a great week, and I hope you had one too.
Oh, thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'm gonna let Malika talk.
All right. Good morning, Malika. How are you? And it's good that you're up here. We'll talk to you for a minute. We'll do this read for Slam Goods, our sponsor, and then we'll talk to Jess about why you shouldn't sleep on the Toronto Raptors this year. And then we'll go ahead and drop the Nets preview as well. Good morning, Malika.
Good morning. Do you want to do the Slam Goods ad read, or you?
No. You go ahead.
I'm excited about outside of the Nets, outside of my team because they play today, and I'll be able to test out whether this VPN actually works. But I'm excited about the Clippers, man. I'm curious about what the Clippers are. They're fully stacked, and I'm a Kawhi fan, so I watch Kawhi. But I'm curious to how they're going to how they're going to be managed with all those personalities, and there's but so many minutes to go around because they have a stacked team. Um, I'm curious, Darvin Ham. I mean, Laker fans. I hope that Darvin Ham is the savior. That you know, like, I hope he is the answer for you guys because I look at the roster. We'll see what happens this year. If AD is healthy, it could be, like if Russ Westbrook isn't putting up the bricks he was last year, it could be something. But I'm not extremely looking forward to the Lakers, even though I like LeBron. It's more the Clippers, the Nuggets, the Pelicans. Because they'll be healthy this year. So I think the West is going to be outside of the Warriors. The Warriors are, of course, but it'd be nice to see them have some competition this year. And I think it'd be interesting with Jokic having his team back and the Clippers. I think it's going to be fun in the West. The East, if James Harden is healthy, then Philly will be fun to watch. And Atlanta's interesting, but I think that with the East, I'm looking forward to not just the Nets, the Bucks, Philly, the usual suspects, but Toronto, man. I think Toronto's going to sneak up on some people.
You
I
name
do
it.
think Toronto's going to sneak up on some people.
You
Don't
could
sleep, don't sleep.
you could tell she's ready for NBA basketball. She's talking about half the league like I'm the same way. Like
I
I'm
mean,
not.
you asked, so I was giving you what I'm looking forward to. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Well, I know. I'm smiling. Don't you? I'm like you should hear the muscle tension pulling my cheeks up. Like it's pretty loud. I can hear it.
But preseason is just a waste of time. But I'm looking forward to regular season.
Okay, so that is where I disagree. Preseason is phenomenally entertaining. At
Not for me.
random
But
play,
I will be watching the Nets tonight. But
uh,
I just, I don't know.
random players dropping random buckets, reminding you of why you watched them over at like St. Bonaventure. You know. Anyway, that's just me. Jeff, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I didn't know if you wanted to get the ad read out the way, or if we're good to jump into.
Oh, I'm gonna get it. I was just saying good morning.
Oh, good morning. See, I just want to make sure you get your money, brother. I want to make sure that you get your money. All
uh,
right. Good morning.
no, we're not there yet. Hey, it's cold outside, everybody. You heard Nat say it. Malika would say it too because she's on the East Coast. Like if you lived on the East Coast or in the North, you understand. Like that turn, it hits you, and like they created this article of clothing that's perfect, and it's called a hoodie. And like we have hoodie season, and right now, if you head over to slamgoods.com, you could actually pick up a hoodie, even one that's on sale, and you could save 15%. How? That's what you're supposed to ask me. How do you save 15% by going over to Slam Goods? Well, you just use the promo code Hoop Spaces and it gives you 15% off of your entire purchase site wide. And like low key, like I actually used it to buy the cover of Asia Wilson's championship slam magazine cover to go with the newspaper and the local publication to celebrate the Aces championship. I'm gonna get them framed all three together. It's pretty dope. So head over to slamgoods.com where you can pick up your apparel or any accessories. 15% off with promo code HoopSpaces. There you go. That's my impromptu read. Grade the read, Jess. Give me a grade.
A+. A+++.
Oh, thank you. You're so kind. Point to you. All right, so I've done all of the Eastern Conference. I'm putting that out there now. The Atlantic Division first today. Up next, don't sleep on the Toronto Raptors, and I don't think people understand how deep this Toronto Raptors team is.
They really don't get it, Chris. They really don't understand.
114-82 over the hapless Utah Jazz. But this is a team that has, if you don't count Fred VanVleet and Malachi Flynn, nobody under the height of 6'8". The entire team is 6'8" and taller, except for two players. Just talk about them.
Listen, man, I understand it's a preseason. People are on this Bird app capping, trying not to overreact. I'm going to be honest, Chris. I'm overreacting. I'm here this morning to overreact. I'm here this morning to be reckless. I am telling you, the Toronto Raptors are going to be the most annoying team to play against. I watched OG Anunoby snatch 3-point shots out of the air yesterday from Jordan Clarkson in a preseason game. I saw Gary Trent and Fred VanVleet deflect anything that any Utah Jazz player was trying to do. All right, I saw Scotty Barnes and Precious Achiuwa make it very known that they're taking leaps forward this season, and it's going to get ugly. It's going to get nasty. And to me, I think even seeing players like Josh Jackson and Chris Boucher really show why Masai and Bobby and Nick Nurse went after these guys. Like, I think it's going to be really exciting. I think people, because we didn't do like the flashy Kevin Durant trade, which is still on the table, by the way. Like, the trade deadline will be the trade deadline. If Phoenix continues to fall apart, who knows what could happen there. If the Brooklyn Nets don't come together, who knows what could happen there. But just as it is on paper, this is truly going to be, I think, a top 5 defensive team. I don't think there's a team in the league that is going to try hard. Like the Raptors Twitter, we have this inside joke that the Raptors are the try hard team. This is a team of tryhards. We're not going to give you anything easy. And it's not going to be pretty. And I saw that in a preseason game. I understand it's the Utah Jazz and this team is in rebuild mode. And we did this against Lauri Markkanen and Colin Sexton and Mike Conley. But what I saw last night was that the defense did not miss a step. And there's going to be players like, imagine, you're an opposing team and you have Pascal on you and you call for a switch and OG Anunoby's in your face. And then you call for another switch and it's Scotty Barnes. Like it's going to get nasty, and I'm excited. And if Rico Hines can get the offensive playmaking together, and if the shots start dropping for the Raptors, because of course no team is perfect, and I understand that we still have offensive holes and gaps in our game to really get together. But if the shots start to drop and we continue to be a menace on the defensive end, I think a W against the Toronto Raptors, no matter what team you are, because I hear the Clippers talk and I understand they look really good. I understand that the Brooklyn Nets could be a really good offensive team. I know what's going on in Philadelphia and in Milwaukee, but it doesn't change the fact that almost all of the stars on any of those teams, whenever you ask them, who do you hate to play against? Who is the most annoying team in the league? Over the past 3 years, they always say Toronto. And I think that's just going to be more of the same this season. And I'm excited. I'm excited, Chris.
Yeah, no, I love the Toronto Raptors. There's one knock that I had on them, and it's just that I don't know if Malachi Flynn is going to be the guy to back up Fred.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be all fluid. Like, I think if Malachi or Delano Banton do emerge, because they were both looking pretty good last night. If they do emerge, then you know what? That's a problem that we don't have to worry about. But I could also see Nick Nurse getting really creative with the lineups, right? We might see Point Scotty. We might see Point Pascal. Because the other thing about the vision for the Raptors is that this is like six, like you said, 6'8", 6'9" and above, long wingspan, defensive intensity, and then positionless basketball, right? I think a lot of what we're going to do might end up being positionless if we get to the halfway point of the season and Malachi and Delano aren't showing the flashes or the development that we would like to see. Then you just might see Scotty at the point, and I could see that working fine as well.
Yeah, I also want to see Delano Banton. He tore up the G League.
He's got a pretty game. I know. He looks so good.
I think he's going to be dope. Let me get some people in here to respond to you. Let's see. I see Subhan's up here. Malika's here. KP's here. We'll go to
I'm just going to jump in there and say right now, if I had to pick, I'd take the Raptors over the Suns any day of the week right now.
I agree. Point to Scott. The bell rings for Scott because I would take the Raptors.
Give him 2 points. I agree.
Scott then. All right. We'll go to KP. Vince wants to hop in here with some Raptors talk. We'll get Nicole's thoughts, Malika's thoughts, and then we will roll with the punches as I ask the question, who can honestly be a healthy Ben Simmons, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant team? KP, your thoughts, then we'll go to Vince and Malika, and then we'll talk some Nets too.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chris. I was sleeping. I'm sorry. Y'all said not to sleep. I was sleeping. My bad. Thank you, Christopher, for letting me come up. I appreciate that. This is great coming after Jess because up north, it's a lot of stuff going on up there, so I got to make sure she's okay. Couple things, Chris. We had a great space yesterday. We were discussing episode 7 of House of the Dragon. Thank you. Just House of Dragon. People like to shorten names, show some respect. It's the greatest TV show out right now, or if you don't define it as TV, greatest content that you can watch. Secondly, Chris, I'm renaming my show from KP Views to KP Was Right because it's easier. And I'm right all the time. And you Marvel fans was in my mentions like, hey, they got to recast that thing, or I want that movie to fail. I don't want it to make no money. And they just dropped another trailer today for Black Panther 2. Shout out to me for being right again that recasting wasn't the move right now. Let people get their ish off, please. And thirdly, the Suns, it might be over for you guys before it even starts. Chris, the 36ers, is that like the G League 76ers? Is that what they are? I don't even know who those guys are. I know they're in like the NBL or the NBDA or the DMV. Like, what are they?
They're Australian.
So they got beat by dudes that was 12 hours ahead of them.
I guess they knew exactly what they was going to play, right?
So that's the multiverse. So they got beat by the multiverse. Shout out to the Suns. I hope you guys fail tremendously. I like that my Warriors everyone's cool, everyone's happy, everything is cool. There's no drama, there's no issues. Everyone's gonna get paid. Shout out to Miami because that guy. Where's that guy JFK at? Is he in here? Because
He
he
might.
set he set it up. You know me, Chris. I hold a grudge, and for the whole season, he will be getting these flames because they got the little guy coming off the bench making 32 million. He ain't it. He's not him, and he's not even it. It's over for Miami. Sorry, guys. Pack it up. I would pick the lowly Nets before I pick that Miami team with that guy coming off the bench. That's ridiculous. And then lastly, your question, Chris. Who will stop the Nets if they're all healthy? I got a couple of ideas. One is Steve Nash. One is Kyrie Irving. And then three is Kevin Durant's Twitter feed. So those are the three things that will stop the Nets. I don't care. They can be. You ever play like Mortal Kombat and you get like that extra health as you can do all the fancy moves real quick because you got all this. That will not even help the Nets win a championship this year. So shout out to Steph. He's on NBA. I mean the PGA 2K golf game that just added him as a player because it's the Steph era. It's never been the LeBron era. Stop letting these people fool you. And to you Toronto people, you guys are always going to be the scrappy little team. You ever see that? What's Scooby-Doo little friend? Scrappy Doo? You guys are Scrappy Doo. You guys are going to fight it out. Going to fight it out, then fail. And then next year, let's do it again. Shout out to Toronto.
You know, Scrappy Doo grew up and ended up becoming the greatest villain in the Scooby Doo universe.
I agree. I definitely agree.
Say that now until Scotty
And
Barnes
Scrappy
takes a
Doo
leap. All right, KP.
and Scrappy
Repeated
Doo couldn't
hater,
beat
hating.
Scrappy Doo couldn't beat Batman either. Before you say it, Chris.
Hey, look, I don't need to say it. That's the whole point. Thank you for proving me right. Appreciate you, KP. Make sure you tap in because it is House of the Dragon. It drives me crazy. I ain't even see the damn thing yet. But y'all out here saying House of Dragon. I'm sitting here like, no, that's not what it is. So I'm with KP on that. Up next, you can catch her on the Hoopstresses, dishing out good news on everything ball because that's what she does. See you, man. How you doing? It's good to see you again. You heard him talk about Tyler Herro. I'm big up on Tyler Hero's contract extension, which, by the way, to those who don't understand, in 3 years that thing is going to be a steal. Good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, Chris. Can you hear me?
Yep, we
I
got
have
you.
a mask on. I'm in the store. First, I know the way it looks, but it's Siobhan.
Oh, it's Siobhan.
Yeah. Hey,
I
Malika, how
remember.
you doing? How y'all? Good afternoon, morning, wherever you're at. So I'm a little annoyed because I'm a fan of Tyler Hero a bit, but I feel like I got to come in and do some defending on his behalf when I don't even really want to because I'm not a fan of the contract.
I love the contract.
So I understand that it'll be a steal in 3 years, and I get that. I don't like getting much into the cap and into the numbers, but I understand that all that matters. I thought that somewhere around 4 and 100 or 4 and 110 would have been good. 4 for 130 was a lot to me. I feel like a little bit of it is Miami trying to do some doubling down on the idea that he is worth something after whatever potential trades this offseason involving him as the centerpiece fell through. I don't think his value around the league is what Miami, I guess, kind of projected it to be. And Pat in that front office can be really stubborn sometimes. And so I wouldn't be surprised if a little bit of that number went into, no, damn it, you're going to hear me. This guy's good. And we're going to show you we think he's worth this. That said, I am a proponent of him coming off the bench still. This idea that he is just ass is asinine. He was your sixth man of the year last year and actually very deservedly so. But I am a fan of him remaining on the bench as kind of a stabilizing factor. We have a lot of guys a lot of guards under contract. One being Victor Oladipo, who has had the surgery, like he's had the corrective surgery, whatever surgery they did in Houston when he got there, the ligament was still unattached to the bone. I don't know how you do that as a physician, but he's had a complete surgery now. We reinserted him maybe with 8 games left in the season last season, and Spo wasn't using him properly. He wasn't fully integrated into the lineup. You had Tyler Herro being on ball and Victor Oladipo in the corner as your catch and shoot spot up guy when that is not who he is. And I think you saw in the playoffs once they started to put the ball in Vic's hand a bit, he was getting downhill, and it's been reported out of numerous sources that, you know, the training camp was going to be a fair competition, and whoever earned the spot. And I hope that they really went about it that way. And if Tyler comes out starting, then that is fine for me. And I feel like Vic is going to have a big year in the former, you know, kind of Tyler Hero role. My issue with Tyler's contract is, and again, I don't know how tapped in a lot of you are into the inner workings of the Heat roster, but the way that he spoke about it, he spoke very with an air of entitlement that I really didn't like. A very kind of, you know, well, this is my 4th year now, 4th or 5th year or whatever, and I just deserve it. When really, you had a great regular season campaign last year. Yeah, you went into the playoffs a little bit hurt, but you were bad. He was bad in the playoffs last year, and they really needed him in kind of the Boston series. And for whatever reason, after the bubble, every playoff season, he's found himself hurt. So I understand the projection into what it is that they see him to be. And I get that when the new TV deal hits and all of that, that the contract will seem small or whatever. But I think a lot of the contracts around the league just are inflated a bit anyway. And so I don't know that that means too much to me. My issue, though, is you have a lot of money wrapped up into a lot of people who either didn't live up to that money or didn't like come close to living up to that money. We gave Kyle Lowry a substantial contract, and I understand Kyle is who he is, but Kyle Lowry is a solid point guard to me. And I don't mean that with any disrespect. He was never someone that wowed me. We did a show, my Miami Heat show, our post-game show. We did a show a couple seasons ago, and with, you know, which top 5, or like what were our top 5 point guard targets at the time. Kyle was 5th for me. I did not want him, but I understood that he could just help Miami because Miami at the time just needed a point guard, period. They just needed someone to come in and kind of settle things and orchestrate. Kyle isn't spectacular. He doesn't really he doesn't manipulate defenses to me. He just is steady. He hits the open guy. He forces Bam to be more aggressive. He'll kick it to Bam. Bam will kick it back out, and he'll give it right back to him on some, no, you know, go ahead and kind of operate stuff. We got a lot of money wrapped up into him. Duncan Robinson, we gave him $85 million, and that mofo couldn't see the floor in the playoffs. So we just have a lot of money kind of wrapped up in some almost useless ass places right now when a lot of your bench is going to suffer for it. I don't know how y'all, like I said, I don't know if y'all know about Gabe Vincent, Max Strus. There are a lot of guys that make that bench that actually round out and make this roster what it is. And with the money where it is, I think you're going to see some of them lost. I understand bird rights and things of that nature too.
I'm a huge fan, by the way.
Who?
I'm a huge Max Strus fan.
Oh, yeah, Max Strus there. That's my guy. Him, Gabe Vincent. I'm the biggest Gabe Vincent fan on this platform. If you search Frosted Gabes in the search bar, I started that. That is my guy.
Oh, you started the Frosted Gabes?
Yes.
Gives you a point.
Yes, I started Frosted Gabes. Shout out Carla Tiana down there. One of my buddies, she sent me actually a Frosted Gabes jersey. That is me. That is my boy. But no, I think soon here, though, I think Kyle's going to have to be gone. I think Duncan kind of is going to have to be gone. We don't have a power forward, and I deal with with Heat fans all the time talking about, oh, we don't need it, we can be positionless, Spo is a genius, da 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 da. I'm like, yeah, all of that may be fine and well, but I am looking at Toronto, a whole goddamn team of people built no shorter than Bam Adebayo, and so Milwaukee is still large. Brooklyn is big. I like what a lot of the teams in the East can do, and so I'm very curious. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up. I'm very curious to see. We have our first game tomorrow. I want to see what that looks like. I hope Tyler earns his contract. I really want to see Vic come out and look closer to himself with a more integrated role. I want to see some of the tandem big lineups. I've been saying for 3 years now that Bam Adebayo is a 4. That man is not a 5. Just because you are undersized and can play up does not mean that you are a 5. I know that from experience. So I just want to see kind of what we look like. And again, I'm really realistic about this group. I've always been, and I catch a little bit of heat for it. But it always baffles me how when everyone is going through their like next season projections, Miami is never mentioned. We talk about Brooklyn and Milwaukee and Toronto and Philly and this and that, but for all it's worth,
They
Miami,
they,
huh?
they never are.
They never are. For what it's worth, Miami was one basket away from the NBA Finals last year, and they're never spoken about as someone who should be worthy of some attention. And I get it, I guess, but I kind of really don't. We lost PJ. We didn't replace him. I like our draft pick. I think the loss of PJ, I don't think that they were expecting it. So I think PJ's loss kind of expedites our draft picks timeline a little bit. But we'll see. I just want to see how this group comes together, and I'll know very early on the real about this team, and you can always look to me to be honest about it, regardless of whatever some of the culty kind of Heat fans are. And I'll yield the rest of my time. Thank you, Chris.
You will
And
tell us what you got coming up next.
oh man, not too much, and that's my fault. Hoosher says we have a space tonight. Talking a little about some of the off the court stuff, a little of the Ime and Malika stuff. We want to talk about the Rachel Nichols, all the smoke interview that's coming up tonight. Me personally, I'm just going to be back on the timeline doing some game breakdowns. I'm trying to get out another episode of my show. If you go to YouTube under the Miami Heat Beat channel, my personal show is called Needle to the Groove. It's only 2 episodes out right now, but it's because I'm really intentional about my stuff, and I'm borderline perfectionist, and it bothers me to put out anything subpar. So I'm just here. I'm around. I'm probably going to clear out my computer so I can get ready to make some space for new breakdowns and stuff. And yeah, I'm here.
Anytime that you want to share, let me know. Come up here and let us know what you got coming out. So
appreciate that. Thank you, Chris.
Absolutely. We got some hands up down below. I saw Jess's hand pop up as soon as something was said by Siobhan here, so we'll go to Jess next. Look, I agree with the Bam as a 4. That's why he fit with Kelly O. I was hoping Kelly O would make his way back down to Miami. That's the exact piece they need.
Yes, it is.
I also said Duncan Robinson will lead all power forwards in threes made this year.
If he can get on the floor.
Well, y'all don't have anybody other than him. Like you got him, and then like Dwayne Dedman and Omar Yurtseven.
Oh, listen, people are sleeping on Yurt. I think Yurt is going to have a decent season. People call him big and slow-footed, but I've seen his agility increase, and he knows how to play with his length.
Walking double, too.
What you say? Yeah, a walking double just walks into a double-double. So
walking double. I know. I love him. I'm huge on him. I wish they would start him and put Bam at the 4.
That's what I'm hoping.
All right, just hop in here because you heard her say something about the Raptors and then laugh and smile because, that's good. People should be envious of what the Raptors have been able to do.
No, truly, and I shout out to Siobhan. Love what the Hoopsters are doing. Love her Heat takes. I just wanted to, I guess, reply really quickly to some of the points that she was making because I agree with a lot of it. But, of course, again, Raptors bias on full display today. I'm here to be reckless this morning. the Kyle Lowry slander from the Heat
See,
fans
here we
has
go.
been
Here we go
it's been
already.
reckless. It's been wild. You know what I'm saying? And there does seem to be a bit of a log jam at the guard position for your team, Siobhan. Like I see it, I understand it. But to say that Kyle can't manipulate defenses, that's wild. No one can draw a charge like that, man. I also don't think there's many floor generals. There's many like old school point guards with the
Fair.
ability to read the floor, like Kyle, like Christopher Paul. I know he's a polarizing name, but like I put Kyle in that sort of like class, a tier below, but in that class of
That's it.
like
A tier
he's
below.
gonna push the pace, right? Like, and I do think he helped your team. I think to
Yes.
say that you want to see what Gabe has, as opposed to like seeing, the value that a healthy Kyle can bring. I don't know what that's gonna look like for the Heat team, but you know what I'm saying. Like I hear your take, I understand it. I just listen, respect Kyle Lowry.
No,
Yeah.
I feel you.
And
I do. I give Kyle his respect, and I'm very excited to see him come in a bit more shape. Some of the personal off the court issues he had seem to be a bit, past him now. So I am actually very excited to kind of see Kyle. I don't I don't I don't think that I disrespect him, but I don't know that I don't know. I know that he's a difference maker. He's definitely a ceiling raiser. But I don't know. I had other people in mind, but I don't mean
it,
to say
it,
that as a slight to him.
it's is it because you what the way I see it, and I understood the argument of point guard. I didn't like the fit for Kyle Lowry in Miami necessarily. When they made the move to acquire him, I thought he would have been better off, in the Philadelphia type situation, where you have a big inside that you're able to play in and out. Like maybe even Minnesota would have been good for Kyle as well. And I
I,
think just because he's not dynamic any longer
that's
on.
it. That's all it is. I wanted someone a bit more dynamic, more athletic, and that's mostly it. And yeah, he pushes pace, but not in a way that he is like pushing the ball off the floor. The kick aheads are what pushes the pace, and yeah, that does serves its purpose, but that's not something that can't be replicated in someone else.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. That's just a personal preference for me. But again, I'm a huge Kyle Lowry fan. I just didn't like the fit. That's where
Yeah,
I'm at.
no, it makes sense, and I'll add my plane here because I do love like I've always felt like within the Eastern Conference, the Raptors and the Heat always seem to bring the best out of each other. Every
Right?
time our teams played one another last season, it was a
It
dogfight,
was
it
a
was a battle,
bloodbath.
and I love it. I love it. I also think it's going to be interesting to see Tyler Hero's situation play out because I do think that contract and his ability to prove that it's worth it is going to be hard for him to do that coming off the bench. That does feel like starters money.
Yeah, I
That
think
does
he
feel
starts.
like you know what I mean. And so it would be kind of strange to have your bench. You guys have one of the most expensive benches I've ever seen in the league, right? When you look at what it's tied up in with your guards, with Duncan and now Tyler, and I'm sure Gabe very soon is going to be wanting the bag. I was in a Spaces last night, and Gifted, like a big Warriors fan, he saw the Tyler Hero news drop, and his whole thing was like, oh shit, now Tyler and the Miami Heat just messed up the market because Jordan Poole's gonna want the bag, and
Yes, and
and
Jordan
Tyrese
should get the
Maxey's
bag.
gonna want the bag, and now even the Raptors are
How
saying
did he mess up the
Gary
market?
Trent is gonna want the bag, right? Y'all mess up the market with your open pocketbook, like
I
it's
agree.
looking crazy. But I wish y'all the best. I want to see what happens, but I do think that looks like Tyler will probably be starting, and if he doesn't look like Bubble Tyler, it's gonna be rough for you
I
guys,
think
to
he
be honest.
starts. I think he starts, but I think he has a short leash.
I
And that's fair. And that's fair.
I find this hilarious because like he still put up over 30 minutes and still produced. Like I I guess it's the optics. Like I'm sitting here like he would start on 17 teams.
Listen, Tyler Hero is the reason that they were able to get through a lot of their rough patches last year. When Bam and Jimmy and Kyle saw significant time out, it was Tyler and Gabe and Max really that buoyed the rest of that team. So I'm never going to take Tyler's impact. They needed Tyler in the Boston series. I've been very vocal about this. Boston left the kind of intermediate areas, the short pull up at the elbow area. That is areas where Tyler operates. They needed him last year, and I never
Let me get a quick reset in here and thank everybody for coming through. Welcome to your Hoop Spaces on a Monday. The NBA is back. Preseason action has kicked off. We are happy that you are kicking off your week here with us. We are brought to you by Slam Goods. You can head over to slamgoods.com and see what they're about. And if you remember, if you are of a certain age, you remember. Some of y'all youngins don't know the pleasure that you could have by opening a magazine and reading words. It was phenomenal. I promise you, it was phenomenal. And one of them was Slam Magazine. And if you head over to slamgoods.com and if you want to relive what we lived, which is actually really dope, they have something called the Rewind series where you can actually order the past issuances or volumes or editions of past magazines. I have the Kobe Bryant trilogy from Slam Magazine. It is phenomenal. I opened it up. I looked at the first one. I put gloves on and everything because I'm not trying to mess it up. Head over to slamgoods.com. Use promo code HoopSpaces, and you can save 15% off of that. So it'd be like $1.50 you save, and you can use that $1.50 to buy a Sunkist and hop back in time. All right, I want to get Jose in here because I know he's at work. So let's get him up here. We have Samir, we have Micah, Danny D, and Casey, and we have a fun Houston Rockets team, ladies and gentlemen. So shout out to Houston. I know that you are absolutely excited. You're not going to win a lot of games, but damn, you're going to score a lot of points, and that's all that matters. Jose, I know you got a time crunch, possibly being at work. Hop up in here. Host of 77 Spaces with Speak on a Rolo and Jazz, a.k.a. Scammer Sultan. Good morning.
Good morning, Chris. How are you?
I'm good. Like I reveled in the loss of the Phoenix Suns. It will not get old to me, ever, ever. And like,
You have a lot of mass Twitter community who will agree with you because we just salivate in their
oh
tears.
well, for me, it's personal. For me, because this dates back to a show that Malika and I are going to do here on Hoop Faces as a segment for the Rewind. It dates back to Charles Barkley. I have not forgiven the tampering that never was brought to light by the Houston Rockets. Okay? Like, I'm bitter, and I can admit that.
I feel you, and we all suffer through tampering every now and then. And unless, let me see, unless you're the New York Knicks, I will say that. Uh, so there was a jam-packed Mavs week last week. We had the NBA TV training camp on Friday, which I had watched. It was almost like 2 hours long, fun, entertaining. We got to see some behind the scenes of like player communication, how the coaches communicate with each other, what they're looking for. Seeing Tyson Chandler back as a development player coach, like I really love that because for me, I didn't grow up watching Sean Bradley, and I was like, when are we ever gonna get a dominant center for the Mavericks? And Tyson Chandler to me is one of the most revered like centers for the Mavs. So I'm just glad that he's back with the organization. He was last year coaching a bit, but he was never like fully on board. And I guess like this year, he's making an effort to be more on board. And Dirk Nowitzki also at practice with a note clip and just being a part of the huddles, talking to Luca. So it looks like the Mavericks as a whole are bringing a lot of players who actually did things, and not just players who just stuck around just for the sake of being around, but players who accomplished and who are revered in some great light for the Mavericks. Also, the NBA, I mean, the Mavericks had a scrimmage on Saturday which had everybody talking about Josh Green, even myself. And I might even buy in some stock on Josh Green myself, even though I'm not as high as um, Rolo is on Josh Green. I've seen some things I like. What I'm really high on is Hardy. Hardy looked very poised. He caught a corner three and shot right in front of Luca's face. Like, swish. it was really fun to watch Jaden Hardy play. He brings a lot of energy, kind of a little bit of an innocence to this Mavs team as well, just because we don't have a lot of like young players like Jaden Hardy. And I, I'm probably in the minority here when I say Jaden Hardy could give us 10 to 15 NBA real minutes. I think Tim Hardaway is the guy who's going to be up for trade at the trade deadline. We're going to trade Tim Hardaway Jr. and then Jaden Hardy be able to come in and just be able to replenish whatever we lost out of Tim Hardaway Jr. I mean, some people might not like that. I don't care. I'm on not high on Tim Hardaway Jr. I've watched that man for years here in Dallas, and I've suffered through every night where he has his on and off nights, and I'm just ready for him to go. Um, some of the women in our fan base won't like that either if he leaves, but I, I'm trying to see this Mavs team win a championship, and that's what it is. At the end of the day, it's all about a damn championship. Last thing I want to say before I get off the stage here is that, you know, sometimes we as the fans have a luxury in terms of just being able to watch these great athletes be able to do what they do. And over the last couple days and weeks, I've seen countless of players tweet out some very concerning things, starting with Michael Parsons, who's talking about he'll play through injuries, he'll die on the field if he has to, and then with the Tua uh, injuries as well, and then like J.J. Watt talking about how he got his heart shocked back in, and then he was playing, and I found out that was a very common thing for athletes to get shocked, and I don't remember the exact terminology, but it's very worrying to me as an individual because I care about other people. I care about their well beings, their physical and their mental, and just being a fan sometimes we could get lost into the human element. Like when Ben Simmons was going through that whole crusade with the 76ers last year and how people weren't saying he ain't about shit and he's a punk for backing out and not wanting to play and then he tells a story on the old man in 3 about how he's just walking up the stairs and his disc falls out of place and then he's not able to sleep, he's not able to do anything and he's throwing up. Like sometimes we really gotta care about other humans, and we really gotta put on a scope that sometimes their health and their being is more important than winning a championship, than us as fans experiencing the championship. We just gotta be more human about our love for other beings. And that's all I have to say, Chris. I appreciate you for bringing me up.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you always coming up and sharing the good word of 77 Spaces and also the positivity much needed on a Monday morning. We're going to move quickly, though, so we can get the rest of the hands up here. They've been waiting for a minute. We're going to go to Danny D next, then we got Micah, then we have Samir, and then we're going to finally get to Casey and the fun Houston Rockets. Like, I swear, like, Houston's going to average 124 points but they're going to give up 124.1. Go ahead, Samir, right? Or did I say Danny? I forget. Somebody, go ahead. One of y'all two. Hate to see it. Samir, hop in here. What did you see this weekend? What are your thoughts on the conversation? And then after you, we will head over to Danny D, and then we'll go to Micah so he can come up here and validate Jose's love for Josh Green. And everybody heard Jose say it. He loves Josh Green. He is on the Sugar Glider Express, so we want to give him a shout out. And I want to give a shout out to Kai Soto, who looked like he could play in the league last night, thanks to the Phoenix Suns. Thank you, Phoenix. Everybody give Phoenix a round of applause. All right, since Samir didn't say anything, we will move to Danny D. Danny, good morning. Back to back. All right, Micah. Let's see if we get the trifecta going today. Micah's usually slow. We'll give him 3, 2,
I'm here. What's going on, Chris?
Oh man, you tell me. 3 people wanted to talk. They had their hands up, and like no one was talking.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they don't got much on the mind right now. Can I have a mic is right now? I said it Friday. They do not look good. The 36ers, yeah, that's the first time the NBA team has been beat by somebody out of that league. It doesn't look good. Chris is old. Your max player doesn't want to be there. They don't want him there. It's a big, big mess. And however, the Celtics, who I thought would maybe have some toxicity issues, they look really, really, really good. Especially the guy that I want my team to eventually steal from. Jaylen Brown, believe it or not, it looks like he's taking even another step defensively. I get it. It's preseason. It's getting strong. But still, it's just – and, oh, yeah, I'm on the Josh Green hype train. I'm on it. I think he was stunted by Rick so much that we didn't really get a full development. Now maybe I think with Jason Kidd, he gets that opportunity, and we're seeing some from this year that we haven't seen over the past couple of years. But other than that, that's what I got from what I've seen this weekend.
All right. Appreciate it, Micah. I'm over here also looking at this bingo card generator. And so like I have created a bingo card for today's show. Only one word word or phrase has been said on today's show. And it's this is not cool. I thought, we would get some more points going on here. Kind of disappointed. We got to get the word usage better. Maybe I need to make, easier words. Anyway, Samir, come on in here. Get yourself 30 seconds. What's on your mind? We're going to move to Danny D. Hopefully she's there. If not, we'll talk to Casey and Evan. Go ahead, Samir.
30 seconds are not enough to take my chat, my friend. They are already completed now. 30 seconds left in just a question.
Okay. Well, 30 seconds isn't a hard time. It was more of a form to get your thoughts in order so you can have a stream, presentation.
So, Chris, what's about today's Brooklyn Nets and Sixers game?
All right. Well, today we've got the Brooklyn Nets, and we have the perfect person to talk about the Brooklyn Nets. That's Malika Walker, who is a diehard Nets fan. And I posed the question above, who is going to be the healthy KD, Kyrie, and Ben Simmons. You can hop on over there to hoopspaces.com and read to your heart's content. It's not a super long read because, your time is valuable. So I really try to just give you a quick, succinct preview of what the Nets are going to look like, and they're going to look dominant. I think they're all healthy, and I said this on Twitter. I put the tweet out there. I have seen Ben Simmons in person as a Sixers fan. He has never seemed more relaxed since his second year in the league. He's able to joke in public. He's able to smile in public, and that actually takes a lot of personal security. He's got to be able to feel able to put himself out there, and because he's able to do it, I think is a good sign for Brooklyn. And I actually think he'll probably start at power forward out of necessity, because if he's not going to shoot threes, then they're going to need either Joe Harris or Seth Curry when he gets back to be able to start to space the floor. Beyond that, it really is totally up to Kyrie Irving. We saw Kevin Durant, be able to take a team injured to the second round, just back. Kyrie plays 65 games a season, and he's healthy in the playoffs. Like we're probably having a different conversation, right? So I'm very high on Brooklyn if they're healthy. The biggest question I have is if Steve Nash is going to be the coach for the entire year. I'm not sold on that. Malika, what are your thoughts on the Nets? Uh-oh. It's definitely Monday. Everybody's got work. All right. Well, there you go, Samir. I gave you an answer, and then you can also read the Hoop Spaces season preview for the Brooklyn Nets as well. It's right up there. Just click on it. That's all you got to do. We'll move to Danny D, who's back, who's probably going to say that she had to go get some water because she had to endure her husband's Cowboys winning. And we all know how insufferable Cowboys are when they win. Danny D, good morning. How are you?
I'm well. Good morning. No, actually, I was in the process of scheduling to get some tires for my car.
Oh, that's important. Actually,
Yeah, no tread. I got some dry ride on 3 of them, so like my mother thought. So. Yep. Anyway, that's about it. And I need an alignment. That's about it. I figured that much too. So anyway, no, my husband is an Eagle fan, so he's flying high.
oh, okay. All right. Well, he is.
High as a kite right now. He over there grinning and chinning, and the Braves won last night too. Oh yeah, it's good right now for him.
Yeah. Hey, well, we could all only be so lucky.
I know. I know. But hope everybody's having a great morning, a great weekend. Hope everybody had a great, safe weekend. If you're in South Carolina, or any of the Carolinas, or even Florida, I hope you're all right. I know my mom was all right. I know some of my people down in Low County at that time did not have electricity. I don't know what they have today. But other than that, everything is good. I got my Black Panther tickets already. Me and husband worked out our plan, and we're ready to go. What else? It's nothing else. But you know what? Ty Hero deserves his bag. I mean, I ain't gonna try to get nobody else's coin. I eat so he can meet his goal, his BBL goal for the Miami Heat. So that's okay. I love PB and J. And I don't mean peanut butter or jelly. I mean that Patrick Baldwin Love Jr. You know, that boy. So I mean, if I'm Kaminga, I might be a little concerned about my job. But hey, to each his own. The Sun, I don't know what to say. They are God bless them. I don't know. They need Ayana to fix their life. They need a kumbaya moment. And I think they might be okay. But if they come out there be half-assed, they're going to be last. Looking at the play-in. Um, I just can't wait. Basketball's back. My husband is sick. He's like, you just got through with the WNBA. I'm like, I know. And I'm about to go back into the NBA. He's so sick. He can't
Well,
stand me right now.
tell him he needs to get. We have specialists that treat basketball phobia,
I know.
and we can help him.
He jealous. That's all this. He said you get 365 days out the year. I said not quite. Yeah, I said not less than that, but we do get a year.
tell him to step his game up.
I know. Yeah, he needs to. I say you stop watching that football and watch some real sports. I just play football.
All right. So you got the Black tickets. We all understand that Black Panther would also be Batman. So we've got that aspect. What else? What else are you looking forward to?
I mean, if y'all want to watch Black Adam, go ahead. I ain't buying them advance tickets. I got to hear what people got to say about before I buy that.
Yeah. If you all don't know, that's The Rock playing The Rock, playing a bad guy who's a good guy.
Well, he's somewhat a bad guy. He's an anti-hero, really. But I mean, if he would have put the hair on his head, I would have loved it. He just could have put the hair on the head.
The character is an anti-hero. The Rock is playing The Rock, playing an anti-hero.
I can agree with that part. That's what I see. I just see The Rock. I don't know. I'm still gonna see Black Adam. I'm just not buying no advance tickets.
There we go.
There you go. But anyway, Panther and Batman would be a draw. That's all I got to say.
All right. We're gonna move on to the Spurs and Rockets game. We have Evan Townsend of Project Spurs available, and then we also have Houston sports diehard fan Casey in the building. And let me tell you, I was watching this, and I literally said, I'm gonna wake up on Twitter and the San Antonio Spurs are gonna have their name changed to the San Antonio Victor Wembanyama's because the tank is in, baby. Like it is in, and don't get me wrong, I'm a huge Blake Wesley and Joshua Primo fan. I love Keldon Johnson, especially slimming down so he doesn't have to play the four anymore. But it's going to be a long season. We'll go to Evan Townsend first, covering the San Antonio Victor Wembanyama's, and then we'll go to Casey for his reaction of the Houston Rockets' offensive performance. Evan, good morning. It's going to be tough sledding. And I want to say you were very smart and going ahead and diving in 100% in the NBA draft last year. I think this sets you up perfectly for this year. What are you expecting to see from these young Spurs that are going to get a lot of minutes?
Oh yeah, well, appreciate you, Chris. Thank you for the platform once again. Hope everyone's having a great start to your morning. Before I get into this really boring Spurs propaganda, because I will bore people off off this off of Twitter. Literally, tomorrow, me and my co-host Ben will be having a Victor Wembanyama versus Scoot Henderson conversation. Pretty much just previewing their two scrimmages on the 4th and the 6th this week in Vegas. Huge implications this season for multiple teams trying to turn their franchise around. But with Victor and Scoot, I'm telling you, they're in a tier of their own that may just be on the, alongside like Zion. Maybe not as high as LeBron. I know Victor has kind of like peaked in terms of hype. A lot of pretty much everyone's more concerned with his injury history as of late. But tomorrow it is going to be a huge space tomorrow at 4 p.m. Central. Make sure you guys tune in. It'll probably be like an hour and a half. We'll have it recorded, but you guys need to know how talented these guys are and what really this means for your franchise if you were to land one of these two top prospects. But last night's game, to be honest, it was really boring. I didn't really want to pay attention, to be honest. We scored 36 points in the first half. Pop was playing with some really off-brand lineups. I know you really can only do so much with Zach Collins, Isaiah Roby splitting 20 minutes off the bench, but we're probably going to win the league. I will bet anyone won't win more than 25 games. It's pretty much like the last hurrah for Pop. I know a lot of people are barring like the Quinn Snyder, James Borrego replacement. A lot of people were kind of sad that Becky didn't really get a chance. Becky Hammond, that is. But at the end of the day, we're like you said, Chris. We are taking for Victor Wembanyama. That is clear as day. He plays for Boris Diaw's newly owned team, Metropolitans. The league they're playing in isn't as competitive as the league they're playing in last year, which is Tony Parker's team. And you'll be just smooth implicated in lineups with 24, 25 minutes max a night, just so he can just ease his way into 15, 11, and 5 a night probably. That's my prediction. So that's all I got today. I know I'm talking too much, but I really want to hear what Casey has to say about these Rockets, man. It was a really interesting game last night. I'm really excited to see Jabari Smith. Really excited to see what they got going on with their young lineup. So yeah, that's all I got.
All right, appreciate it, man. Words at Project Spurs. Draft coverage, and like you said, big space. And if you have not actually looked at the lineup, so to speak, or the tail of the tape, as they would say in boxing, between Scoot and Victor, you're going to have to. Like, I don't think people understand how Scoot would be talked about if there wasn't Victor in this upcoming draft, right? Like if Victor wasn't in this draft, it literally is the Allen Iverson draft all over again.
Basically, will solidify himself as the number one prospect this year by playing in the G League. Because at 17 years old, only starting 4 games last year, he pretty much propelled himself to be that guy last year. But this year, it is. I will promise you, it's going to be a coin flip. Depends on what team gets the number 1 overall pick. Many picks will be traded to try and get to some of these guys. But just after them is a plethora. Like the tiers in this class are literally like legendary. It's going to be a really big draft class this year.
Yeah, no, I can't wait. I'm looking forward to reading what you got planned for coverage this year, covering the prospects in the NBA draft. But up next, you heard him say it. He wants to hear what Casey has to say about the Houston Rockets, who I'm telling you, they are just going to be fun to watch, whether they win or lose. Kevin Porter, Jalen Green, Jabari Smith, Alperen Sengun, along with Josh Christopher, and now Tari Eason and Usman Garuba, Ty Washington Jr. I mean, they are young, they are ready, and they are going to score a lot of points. What do you got, Casey? Good morning. Dang, man, he was clapping, he was ready, he was waiting, and then he struck out. Man. All right, well, it happens. We're going through actually a cycle where they're getting ready to update and add some new stuff on spaces. So if you are up on stage and you accidentally are removed, just come back up if you want. It's just going to be happening over the course of the next week or so. Casey, you're back with us. Round two. What do you got?
Yo, can you hear me?
Yep, we
Okay,
got you.
word. Yeah, I lost connection for a second. I couldn't hear anyone else talk for like 15 minutes, but I could hear you. Chris, what's going on, man? Happy Monday. NBA is back. It's so good to finally have basketball back, bro. I've been waiting for the Rockets to come back for a minute. The Texans are so bad, like it's just I can't even watch them anymore. At least the Rockets are doing a rebuild the right way. I gotta shout out Raphael Stone, bro. Like these draft picks that he has picked, man. Jabari Smith. Having Jabari Smith on this team, just defensively, the things it does for this team defensively, it's just like not. It's to me, it's night and day, man. Like last year, the defense was just like so bad. Like they would go on some defensive sets and they just look completely lost. Had no idea who to switch. Had no idea where to be. And it looks like, dude, like they worked their ass off, bro. And I can see the work that they put in. And it's just so good to see. It's so refreshing. Jabari Smith, bro, that guy's shot is just money, dude. Like he doesn't care. He's gonna get his shots up. Bruno Fernando, like that guy came in. Like the whole team, like it looks like they just came back and they had the goal. Like almost like they have a chip on their shoulder. Like you hear Coach Silas, like he kind of said, like this team almost like this group almost plays like it has like a chip on its shoulder, and I can see it, man. I mean, like, they're just hungry. They're ready to get after it. They have a belief in themselves, but it starts with effort. And what I saw last night, this team was ready to fucking play it, bro. And the effort was there. They were going after the ball. Like they were running this pick and roll with Şengün, and man, dude, it's just so I'm just so happy to see this team and the strides that they've taken. Like Jalen Green, he didn't even have his best game. They still blew this team out. Granted, the Spurs had one of the worst shooting performances I had ever seen, but I mean, it's just Jalen Green is just getting. He's just going to keep getting better. I really believe Jalen Green is going to be an absolute superstar in this league. He's going to be one of the best guards in the league. The things that he can do is just amazing. He's really just growing, man. He's such a young kid. Like all these guys are so young. I mean, it's really unbelievable the talent that for how young that they are. So I'm just super excited, man. Watching these guys get after it like they did last night. It sucks I have to wait till Friday to watch them again, but it gives us a lot of stuff to work on. And they're gonna get better. We have a long way to go. But from what I saw last night, man, I mean, Jabari Smith is just unbelievable, dude. The way that he can move laterally is just, man, dude, it's crazy, bro. I'm just so excited to finally have a team that is like really competitive. Like they're gonna be a tough team to play. They've been saying that, and I believe them. I mean, it's really awesome, man. That's really all I got. This is just the first game, the first step, but I'm really happy, man.
Yeah, no, and to your point with Jalen Green, a lot of people didn't see him because he played for Houston. You know, he plays for Houston. Closed out the end of the year, 30, 30, 38, and then 40. So like
no other rookie was close to doing that.
He tore up the league at the end of the year. And he had, the only team that was able to stop him was the Toronto Raptors. So shout out to Toronto Raptors.
One more thing. Shout out Kevin Porter Jr., bro. Shout out Kevin Porter Jr., the point guard, bro. This man, I saw him made a pass last night across the court to Jabari Smith. That shit was crazy, bro. So shout out Kevin Porter Jr. They put in the work in, bro, and you can see it. And that's what it takes. You have to have guys that believe, and they're bought in. Raphael Stone, shout out Raphael Stone, man. Great job with these draft picks. Tari Eason, getting him at 17, bro, it's just like a steal. And I wish I saw more of Ty last night, but it looks like Ty and Knicks are gonna be like battling for that backup point guard role. But all in all, man, great game. I know the Spurs had a really terrible night, but this is just the beginning. So I'm excited. Y'all have a great week.
You too, man, and look forward to hearing more about you and the Rockets as you get to experience something that I didn't get to experience with the Philadelphia 76ers, and that's actually young players playing. I remember my process. I'm scarred by it for life. Somebody who understands that type of scarring is up here. That's Jay, the Wakandan tech support, die-hard Memphis Lakers fan. And if you love the Los Angeles Grizzlies, you should shoot Jay, the Wakandan tech support, a follow. What's up, Jay? How you doing?
Doing well, man. What's up, man? How was your weekend?
You know what? It was good. Like my son. We got home Friday at 4:30. He had a diorama, right, on the Battle of El Alamein, World War II, the second battle. And like, I'm like, yo, you should probably do this like right now, so you don't have to worry about doing it last minute. And then like my entire weekend was literally like chronicling hour by hour as he starts to realize he's got a whole bunch of work he needs to do. It was really enjoyable.
Got you. What theater was the battle in?
Say that again.
The battle. I
Oh,
can't
North
pronounce.
Africa.
Okay. I'll go down a Wikipedia rabbit hole about that later.
Yeah, that was
Um,
the actual turning point of the entire World War II. If they had lost, we would not have been able to secure future beachheads in Italy, which would have negated us being able to go across into Normandy.
right. Um, nah, man. Jabari Parker. I mean, I'm sorry, Lord. I've been I've been talking hoops with Zach a lot, and we've been talking about bad body types, and Jabari Parker came up. We had that conversation this weekend, but Jabari Smith looks really, really good. I tweeted out that he might be the fulfillment of the promise of KG. I think he has that kind of ceiling. Um, and I agree. I think the Rockets are going to be really fun. Um, Let me ask you this, Chris. As a former employee, do you think the Rockets have a chance of being better than Sacramento?
I am not a former employee. I like either team. I would love to be a former employee of either team. And in fact, if any NBA team is listening, hit me up in the DM. Like y'all slipping. I can help. Trust me. No, I don't know. What was your question again?
Do you think the Houston Rockets have a chance of being a better team than Sacramento?
No, no, I don't.
Okay.
I think Keegan Murray and Jabari Smith are going to be similar in production. I do not think Alperen Sengun is going to equal Domantas Sabonis this season. Usually with bigs like Sengun, he's going to need the refinement physically. That's the footwork and some leaning out and building some core muscle. But the biggest key is I like Kevin Porter Jr. I don't have him above De'Aaron Fox right now. It could happen, but until he leaps in, that gives the Kings two players that I just have slightly above on one and majorly above on the other.
I got you. Now, as I was thinking, I think the Kings can play better defense than the Rockets, but I think the Rockets can have more offensive uh, capabilities. And I thought that was a really interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
I think the Rockets can are going to score more in bunches, but I think Sacramento can play more methodically and play better defense.
yeah, yeah. Um, Call me back up when we're ready to talk Grizzlies Bucks. 'Cause I really enjoyed that one.
All right. Casey heard us say something bad about his Rockets, and he is already he's informed. Go ahead with your retort.
No, I just want to know do you think they can split the season series?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Absolutely.
yeah.
That's absolutely on the
I
table.
mean, if people are asking, like in this instance, if they were to play a 5-game series right now today, it would be 3-2 Sacramento, but it would be closer than what a lot of people would want to admit.
Do you think either one of these teams can make the play-in?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think Sacramento can.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think Houston plays enough defense yet. Like that's
Well, dude, having Jabari Smith, I mean, like that, dude, he is a freak, bro. The way that he can move against 1 through 5, like the way that they can switch, bro. Like I don't know, bro. After the defense I saw, like it's once the second group got in there, they looked kind of like they looked lost again. But that first unit, bro, with Jabari Smith, and I was like, damn, bro, like just I think just really having Jabari Smith playing on your team just drastically changes your defense. I mean,
well,
like he's just so dominant.
it changes the help defense, but it's not changing Alperen Sengun having to guard, Jokic. It's not changing Jalen Green having to guard top flight shooting guards and small forwards. You
Yeah,
know,
and the other thing is, and season hasn't started yet, but let's get a 20 to 30 game sample size to see if Jabari, when he is providing that help defense, can he stay out of foul trouble?
Yeah, that was one thing. They were really fouling.
Yeah, and that's the thing about he's a rookie, right? He's a rookie who, 30 years ago, would be going into his sophomore year of college, right? So it's not that I don't believe in the potential of the Rockets. It's just that I know rookie bigs who know they can block a shot usually are over eager to block a shot, so you can get them in the air a lot, which leads to a lot of foul trouble. And it's not that I don't think Jabari is a smart player for his age, but as far as an NBA vet, I think Sabonis can show Jabari a fake, let's say hook over the shoulder or a pump in the post. And if he gets Jabari in the air 2 times in the first quarter, there goes that help defense for 12 minutes in the first half because you got to settle,
yeah.
right?
So last season, the Rockets allowed 118, and the Kings allowed 115. Right? I don't see the Rockets getting 4 points better on defense.
But that's right now though. I think
Yeah.
it's fair to say that over the course of a season, like 5 months from now, the Rockets may be better.
Oh yeah, I'm saying right now,
right now, yeah.
I don't see them, dropping 4 points per game. That would put them in line with like Charlotte last year, right? Like Milwaukee gave up 112. So if you can get down to 112, you have the chance to outscore them because I think they're going to be able to put up points in bunches. I think they probably average 112, 113 this season. They're just going to give up on average of like 116 or 117. But the cool thing is when you see a team bottom out, which is what Houston did after the James Harden trade, you do like to see that the person who's in charge of the redevelopment of the entire program, for lack of a better term, have a strategy that doesn't have to be constantly changed. And Houston has that in Raphael Stone. And like Eric Gordon is going to be traded at the deadline, and he's either going to net a first rounder or what I actually think ends up happening is he'll be combined with Derek Favors and even another player, and Houston can pull in a max contract, multiple firsts, and then get that max contract off the book in a year or two, just in time to give Jalen Green, Alperen Sengun, and Jabari Smith, their contract extensions if they earn it. And then you're looking at, a good, solid young core to develop in Houston. And you know what? At that point, you start wondering, is Houston the best team in Texas? Like if you take Luka off the Mavs, like Would Houston be better? That's an interesting question, Jay.
And my answer to you is a strong maybe. Um, and the only reason it's a maybe is because the Mavs have vets. Like everybody on the Mavs roster has been in the league, except for the Josh Green. But everybody that's going to play substantial minutes on that roster has been in the league 5 years plus. And that's the only reason why the Mavericks would have uh, the edge beginning this year. But if you said roster potential, like if you in soccer terms put them on a transfer embargo where they couldn't bring in new players for like 2-3 years, the Rockets have a much higher ceiling. So yeah, uh, I think we should start the free Luca chants around Christmas. Um, Now that might be me as a Grizzly fan. There may be some bias in there.
Yeah.
I'll let the room decide. But I don't think Dallas can put a good team around Luca objectively. I just don't. I don't see it. I see strides, but I don't trust Mark Cuban. I remember the last 7 years of Dirk's career.
Oof.
Uh, yeah,
Oof.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
shout out to the Mavs and Magic draft down below. That's at Mavs draft is the handle. Not liking what we're saying about the Mavs right now. If you need some
Hey,
Mavs content, by the way, dope follow. Make sure you follow them.
appreciate y'all taking Christian Wood though. Shout
Absolutely.
out.
Go ahead. What you got? Oh, you saying appreciate? All right. You don't got a final take?
No,
Who
he was
me?
saying. No, he was saying he appreciated the Mavs taking Christian Wood off their hands.
Oh.
That's what he was saying.
Yeah, appreciate that, bro. Thank God he's out of here, bro. Look at what happened. As soon as Christian Wood leaves this team, the last 10 games of the season, you see the potential with the two guards that we got.
Hey, why? Yeah, you're not there's a lot of Houston fans who, for whatever reason, was extremely tired of Christian Wood. I if you look at the Mavs' history with bigs, I think they'll be happier with Christian Wood than let's say Kristaps Porzingis, right? So
Have
it
you
worked.
ever really got down to why Luca just personally did not like KP? And by
Uh,
KP, I mean Kristaps, not the host of KP was right, apparently.
I think that's going to be an interesting conversation when it comes out. But from what I understand, K, KP thought he was going to have a larger role than what he ended up having. So like he's looking at, oh well, Luca was this, he's this prospect. He's really good in Europe, but he's not going to come over and have the same instant success that I had, right? Um, and I think that's really what it was. Where Luca is in his mind, like you haven't even done what I've done since I was like 14, and I just don't think they meshed. I'm getting
I think that's fair.
the Knicks preview out here. I had to put the tweet out. I like the tweet. I think I got it. Let me know what y'all think of the tweet here with the Knicks preview. Having a little fun here as we get ready to close part of the show out. We're still in preseason mode. Haven't hit the full time pedal on the gas or pedal on the metal or whatever it is. But the Knicks, ladies and gentlemen, are the last team of the Atlantic Division that I'm releasing today for the season preview. And as you can see, RJ Barrett, 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 and Julius Randle. That is your season preview because much like it ended in the season for the Knicks, talking about RJ Barrett and Julius Randle, I think despite the fact that they signed Jalen Brunson, we will still be talking about RJ Barrett and Julius Randle because I think that is the direction that the Knicks have to figure out. Do they try to get a team to build around to make the playoffs with Julius Randle, or do they hedge towards the trade deadline and find a trade for Julius Randle to try to get a better piece to fit around RJ Barrett? That's the question that I have for the Knicks. And if you're a Knicks fan and you want to add your answer, go ahead. You can add it either below by adding your reply or maybe up here on Wednesday because we've got 4 minutes left in the show. What do you think of the Knicks, Jay? We know Knicks fans. They're crazy. They're passionate. Are they setting themselves up for another year of heartbreak?
It depends what the Knicks fan is expecting. If they're expecting a possible, if all the cards in the stars align, second round, 42 to 46 win season, that's fine. If you're expecting anything more than that, God bless. I think the Knicks are a perfect example of why your coach and your front office have to see the same thing. Because RJ Barrett's development, I don't understand what the plan is because it seems like RJ Barrett's development was never the primary plan. It was because you bring in all these vets, his rookie year to play behind, and then you ship all those guys out. Then you bring in Julius Randle. COVID happens. Then Julius Randle for 1 year turns into Larry Joe Bird. You surprise the league. You make the 4 seed, and you're like, okay, well, instead of saying, well, we're going to develop RJ to be the two to Randle because Randle got put in the telephone booth in that playoff series with the Hawks, they decide that instead of having a team built on defense, we're going to bring in a whole bunch of average NBA players who hit a mid-range jump shot. And last year was last year because Kemba apparently only has one healthy leg. Derrick Rose got hurt, and I know that messed up rotation and all that stuff. But again, it took RJ basically snatching the keys out of Randall's hand midway through the season for RJ's development to be like, oh, this guy's pretty good. Oh, maybe we should put the ball in his hands. Oh, And so now with the whole Jalen Brunson thing, I don't think Jalen Brunson's walking into that locker room with that contract thinking, how can I get RJ Barrett the ball? So, so you know, I think the Knicks got better with Jalen Brunson and a healthy Derrick Rose, but I don't know if RJ Barrett's situation is better. And that's what I'm curious about is when do we see a version of the Knicks where RJ Barrett's development is the primary plan? And I get it that he doesn't project as the alpha of a championship team. I understand that. But I think his ceiling is higher than Julius Randle. You know what I mean? So they're a very weird team. But they're gonna be entertaining for some of the wrong reasons.
They are a very weird and mercurial team. I have a hard time because like Julius Randle is somebody who just put up a couple years ago 25, 11, and 5.
Yeah, he turned into Larry Bird.
That's a phenomenal stat line. RJ Barrett is yet to do that. Like he's put up increasing stat line every year. He is one of only 7 players in NBA history to do what he's done at his age, and he took a team friendly contract. So you know what? I tell you, I don't know if the Knicks will ever prioritize RJ Barrett's development because like he's developed every year, right? So in their mind, they're probably thinking, "Oh, we're doing great," and I'm just sitting here like, "Man, you might have missed the window and stunted like what could have been his ultimate ceiling." But that's also why we watch the game. I actually think RJ Barrett actually does take over this year and leads the Knicks in scoring. I think it is going to be clearly his team. And even though I agree, Jalen Brunson didn't take that 27 mil contract to figure out how to get RJ Barrett the ball, I think Jalen Brunson is a good enough point guard to get the ball to the open person and the guy who's hot. And I think, over the course of the season, we'll see that it's RJ's team. That's just me.
I hope so for the Knicks' sake and for good basketball's sake. I hope that that's what happens My only question becomes then, because there were times where RJ was playing well and Julius Randle did not seem pleased, did not seem enthusiastic that they got the win. And this has just been a really, really interesting philosophy of roster building and contention and keeping the fans happy kind of thing to watch, because
You're
do
good.
you take Julius Randle and you sit him down and say, hey, listen, if you want to be a Knick, you're going to be the third option behind RJ and Brunson. Or if you want to be the man, we're going to figure out a trade, but because of who you are and your contract and your attitude problems, you're not going to really get to dictate where you go. So just sit tight and we'll figure it out. Because in this draft class, what team is going to say, yeah, I'll give up my 3% chance of landing Scoot or King Victor for Julius Randle? Like, what team is going to make that trade? Because I think there are certain teams that are going to be better than they think, i.e., the Washington Wizards, and they're going to have to move pieces to have a good lotto chance.
You know what'd be funny if Kristaps Porzingis ended back up in New York.
Oh, bro,
Now,
I listen. Now I have something on my prayer list. Thank you.
that's the time that I have for today's show, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go ahead and hit this button here so we go ahead and head out of here. This show is brought to you by slamgoods.com. And as we approach the regular season of the NBA, we are already well within hoodie season. Make sure you head over to slamgoods.com. Use promo code HoopSpaces to save 15% off of your entire purchase. They also have a bomber jacket like literally on sale for $40, but there's a catch. They only have two sizes, a medium or a double XL. I need an XL. Double X is too big, but it's dope. Head over there, slamgoods.com. Promo code HoopSpaces. If you missed any of the conversation, you can head over to YouTube and search us out. Shoot a subscription there as well, powered by audiolabs.io. We'll be back in the office Wednesday morning, 10 a.m. Only a couple more weeks until we go full Monday through Friday for your hoop spaces. Also, check us out, hoopspaces.com. We have the Atlantic Division previews up. That's right. Boston is looking good. So is Philly, New York, Brooklyn, where you at, and Toronto. Shout out everybody down below. Peace out. Have a good one.